Hi, this is Jesse Liberty for Telerik. Today we're going to take a look at using the color history capability with the RadColorEditor. We begin in Visual Studio by creating a new project. Let's call that RadColorEditor, and we'll add .history to that. Make that a Silverlight 5 application, and in the project configuration wizard we will add input and its dependency reference, which is Telerik Windows Controls. Everything we're going to do is going to be in the XAML. There'll be no need for code, but we're going to create a panel underneath our grid view that has the history of the colors that the user has chosen so far. So let's begin by creating a stack panel. Inside the stack panel, we're going to add a stack panel resources section, and the reason for that is that we need a converter. We're going to use a converter provided by Telerik, so we'll use the Telerik namespace, and we're going to use the color to brush converter. All we need to do is give that a key so that we can refer to it later in the XAML. So we'll call that key color converter and save that. And that makes the Telerik color to brush converter available to use later in the XAML. Within the stack panel itself, we're going to add a RadColorEditor. Let's give that a name so that we can refer to it elsewhere. Set a width of 400 and a height of 220. And let's set the history capacity to 5. That's the number of colors we're going to keep track of for this RadColorEditor. And you'll see that we'll be placing 5 colors as the user makes selections under the color editor. Now, where are we going to put those 5 selections? Let's add an items control. The item source is going to bind to the color history. We need to tell that what element to look at, and that's going to be ColorEditor, the RadColorEditor that we just added above. We could set the height and the margin on our items control. Within the items control, we're going to add an item template to describe how each item should be presented, and therefore inside of that we need a data template. Within the data template, we're going to use a border control. We'll set the width at 20 and the height at 20, and that's going to make that border be a prominent square. Set the margin on that, and let's also be sure to set the background. The background, of course, we're going to want to bind to the color in the color history. So we're going to say binding, and now remember we need to convert from a color to a brush, so we're going to use that static resource we created at the very top of the stack panel. That is color converter. Finally, for our items control, we're going to add an items panel. We have the item template that tells it how to handle each item. Now we're going to add the panel, and inside of that we're going to add an items panel template, inside of which we will use a Telerik Rad wrap panel. That's all there is to it. We've created all of this in XAML with no programming of C# or procedural code whatsoever. We're ready to save this, build this, and run this application. When it comes up, we see our color editor. As we make a selection, note the color square below the color editor. As we make a second selection, they're stacking up. There are going to be up to 5 of them as we continue to select through the various colors. When we hit the 5th color, we're going to have filled that history, and so when we take our 6th color, we will push everything to the left, dropping off the red, and pushing all the other colors to the left. That's all it takes to enhance the color editor using the color history. For Telerik, this is Jesse Liberty. I hope that you have seen how easy it is to add history to your color editor. I look forward to talking with you again soon. Thank you very, very much.